Robin, you've played a leading role in the working group on theology and international law at CTI over these last several years. Why has this been an important issue for you in your work as a Christian ethicist to think about international law and its role in the world today?
Well, it seems to me that we're at a turning point in world history, really, where we're moving to the end of what is maybe 500 years of domination of the world seen by the nation state. And the interesting thing from the standpoint of the Christian ethicist is we were here before the modern state arose, and now I think it does fall to the churches and to the universities, to the other institutions that represent these long histories of culture, to think anew about how the world community organizes itself, and the way that the natural law tradition gave rise to the institutions of international law at the beginning of the modern world, now I think deserves to be examined again for what the foundations of a new kind of global order would be like.
So faced with this new global situation, trying to shape almost the world of post-nation state international order in some sense, you are trying to critically retrieve old traditions from the Christian tradition of social legal thought.
That's right. And also I think it's important, certainly there's a large part of this work that is being done by international lawyers, and that's been one of the great pieces of this whole conversation. But the larger task is to enable the wider population to think about how they relate to this emerging world order, and certainly the history in the United States of the reception of this new reality is not that good so far. So I think there's a leadership role for religious institutions. There's a leadership role for people like theologians and ethicists in creating an atmosphere in which we can move to active participation in this emerging global order.
A skeptical citizen would say we have enough problems at home, we're threatened by the wider world. Why should we care about international law? This is something remote and far from our interest. How would you respond to that?
Well, I think what I would ask most of those skeptical citizens to do is think about their own lives, which chances are, certainly for every one of us, we're no longer living totally in a national community. We're, of course, always a part of a world church, divided however it may be into denominations and more local communities. Most of us are part of a business or cultural institution like a university that maintains global ties. Increasingly, our families are global, and if it's not our own families, it's the family down the block. So we're living in a reality that is multinational for most of us now, and the question of whether that world community can be peacefully organized and organized in a way that respects human rights and the dignity of persons is a crucial existential question for a great many people now.
How has this interdisciplinary group on theology and international law at CTI helped you to think about these questions? Has it offered you fresh insights?
Oh, it's of course been a very rich dialogue. I think all of us would agree with that. We get benefit from it in our own individual perspectives, and certainly I understand the work of the international lawyer much better than I did before. I had a kind of conceptual understanding of what international law is and how it fits into the scheme of national governments. But there's been a set of conversations where one could hear the people who were making the arguments and shaping the direction of case law. That's just an invaluable experience for those of us who operate with this more abstract theoretical perspective on these issues.
You have worked in many different contexts as a Christian ethicist in universities, with churches, and in public affairs. What do you think the Centre of Theological Inquiry offers this interdisciplinary conversation on these larger problems in the world today?
Well, first of all, it's an opportunity to bring people together for a conversation that is not done in the harried atmosphere of an academic conference. It's done as a conversation, and so even when we write papers, it's not done in the sense that someone is on the hot seat and we're trying to find the holes in that particular person's argument. I mean, there's a value to that, though I think it's perhaps a value that's overestimated. But the kind of joint exploration that a group of people can develop over time. I said to someone during this current conversation that actually this gives us the opportunity again to have the kind of experience we used to have in graduate seminars, where you could think the big ideas and you could try and get a grasp of the discipline as a whole and where it was going, that I think certainly it's true for me, and I think for a lot of us that we haven't done that at this level since we were in graduate school. We're maybe helping graduate students go through it, but this gives us that experience once again. It's really rejuvenating in that sense as an experience of our own professional life.